On this show, we welcome Julie Turner. Julie Turner, helping you discover your best self. Julie uses a strengths-based, solution-focused approach to help you let go of who you are not. Julie truly believes that if you are able to focus on who you are meant to be and release everyone else's opinions and what are often generational beliefs, life will get easier. She can be your best friend who aspires to bring the best out of you. During a session, she will guide you to a relaxed state where you are able to see and feel what is truly going on for you. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? Is it a mindset shift? A certain behavior you need to release? Does it affect your relationships, career, or possibly even your physical health? Julie will help you find what is truly holding you back. Tuning into your body and your own inner wisdom using the multitude of tools and modalities she has studied over decades. Reduce stress at work and in your family life. Sleep better, foster happier, healthier relationships. And welcome, everybody. My very special guest this week is clinical hypnotherapist Julie Turner. Thanks for joining me, Julie.
Thank you so much for having me. I love to be a special guest. I feel very special and somehow magical all at the same time.
Isn't that funny? What a weird coincidence, this being the name of the show, Magical People. I'm always excited to have you on the show because we usually get into great talks that are hopefully educational for others and maybe each other as well. One of the things I wanted to kind of lead with or start off with is we get a lot of folks not really knowing what hypnotherapy is, and they're a little bit nervous about it. They think, oh, they're out of control, or someone else is taking over their free will and some such. A lot of people don't realize it's very clinical. It's the subject, if you will, or the patient, or even the student. They have complete control, and in fact, from my experiences, they're laying there with their eyes closed, and they're feeling like, well, I can get up anytime I want. They just choose not to. So let's clarify for folks and dispel any myths in regards to hypnotherapy.
Well, thank you very much. I agree. I do run into that myself. And just to clarify, you may not have free will, but it's not me who's taken it. That's another topic for another day. But so, as a clinical hypnotherapist, my area of specialty is working around relationships. My favorite thing is to do work in the parent-child dynamic. And the reason that you might use hypnotherapy is to see what is really going on in your subconscious mind. Where are the behaviors that you currently have come from? Why you're hanging on to them? So many people, you are correct, are like, oh, am I going to lose control? Am I going to, cluck like a chicken and all that other fun stuff? First of all, this is not stage hypnosis. This is clinical hypnotherapy. And second of all, in no way, shape, or form are you ever out of control. People can be asked to do anything, and then they choose whether to do it or not. And let me tell you, stage hypnosis can be a lot of fun because it is very freeing for the average person. They're like, oh, but I'm in hypnosis and I've been told to do this. It's a reduction of filters, but you're never out of control. We are always in control of our own minds.
Excellent. That's a super definition. I was looking into a little bit clinical hypnotherapy, not clinical hypnotherapy, but stage hypnosis. Being also a professional magician, that might have been a route I could have taken. And a lot of it is legit and a lot of it isn't. By that, I don't mean that hypnotists use confederates or stooges, as we like to call them in the biz. Not at all. But there are some physiological exercises you can do with a group of people and make them not be able to open their hands or think they can't
Mhm.
open their hands and do all this stuff. So unfortunately, the mass public, the general public, confuses it, as you said so eloquently, that people think, oh, they may end up after a session clucking like a chicken, or worse, even during the session. That's not the goal or the aim of it. The general aim of it, for those who have never had hypnotherapy before, is essentially to get rid of or alter unwanted behavior, or really, if you want to go deeper, and I know you do and you will want to, is the core reasons. Because we can cover up, as hypnotherapists, we can alter, we can condition on some level or another people's behaviors so that it's a little bit more socially acceptable. We can help people to stop smoking and do all that sort of thing, or even lose weight. But at the core of a lot of that is self-esteem. And am I correct in saying, Julie, that a lot of people's issues have to do with self-esteem and the reasons behind that?
Most definitely. And one of the things that I love to tell clients when people first come to work with me, they have questions, and I want to change this and I want to change that. And I often say, almost always say, I'm not here to change who you are. I'm here to help you let go of who you are not. And
Very good. Yes.
fearful and with no confidence, babies will be loud and proud about whatever they want whenever they want it. So it is the conditioning that we get from zero to wherever you're at now that takes away from that, or piles on other people's thoughts and belief systems to the point where we lose our own internal guidance, our self-esteem, our self-confidence. And that is what, personally, I see it as my job, is to remove those things, remove those antiquated belief systems that somebody else gave you anyway. They're not yours. Why would you want to keep them?
Absolutely. I absolutely agree on that. And so we might as well say it can be a very freeing thing,
Mm.
as opposed to, people think they're locked into things or they can't move on the hypnotherapist's chair or couch. In the end, it's very freeing, and it's a release, if you will, of unwanted feeling or conditioned response and all that sort of thing. I want to briefly address as well. Now, I went into clinical hypnotherapy originally as a means to really delve deeper into people's issues. I was a tarot card reader, if you will. I used other modalities relating to that. And I thought, well, this is only, from my experience, I'm not saying everyone has this experience, kind of a band-aid solution. They go away feeling good. Maybe they have some suggestions from the tarot cards, etc. But really, the tarot is delving deeper. It's going into a person's unconscious mind, really, where we actually have all the answers, I believe. However, they come out, as far as specific cards are concerned, if you're really good at it. And so rather than, for example, give a tarot card reading or a rune stone reading or whatever, I thought, well, you know what? I want to add a modality. I chose hypnosis. I chose hypnotherapy. And at first, after I'd graduated, if you will, it was the hardest thing at that point in the world for me. My teacher said, okay, now go out and help people stop smoking. And it's like, what? He says, well, if you want to make a buck, do that. There's a huge market for that. He was from England. He's gone now. And I thought, well, this is fun. And he was right, sure enough, even more so than losing weight or changing your dietary thing, your self-esteem as far as what you're putting into your mouth and all that sort of thing is concerned. It was really cigarettes and making the person feel disgusted with it and all this. It was a huge thing that really worked for me. But in the end, people were virtually and literally lined up for past life readings. And people came to me wanting to know what they were in previous lifetimes. And although I was equipped to do that, that's not really why I went into it. But also the genre I was in was kind of new age and all that sort of thing. And then I discovered Michael Newton's life between lives, or soul regression, which is a thing you can really get into for 2 hours. I would record those 2 hour sessions. And it gave people insight in their own words, really, insight into why they reincarnated into this life. A lot of people believe and a lot of people don't believe in reincarnation. I do, whatever. But it did give people insight. And I believe that using altered states such as meditation or hypnosis is very beneficial for people. What has been your experience?
I love that that is the trajectory that your career took, because I'm actually the opposite. So I apologize. There's some interesting things going on my face right now due to
3D, it's
the
3D.
wind, due to the window in front of me. So I actually was a coach, and then I found hypnotherapy, and I'd always kind of dabbled in guidance cards and tarot cards and things like that, but I never used them in my career. And I realized that for me, with my clientele, if I were to have a conversation with them, do some hypnosis, and then do a card, the cards were always affirming. They always said, oh, like she said. So I was like, this is wonderful. And I started utilizing the cards to help support my client without them or me maybe pointing fingers, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like the cards are saying this is the way you need to go. The cards are saying this will be beneficial to you. This is not, this isn't me saying it. I'm not giving you advice here. And it was, for lack of a better word, it was magical the way that my clients started to embrace the changes that they needed to make in their behaviors to get where they needed to go. And previous to that, they were, as many people are, a little averse to taking the actual initial step to make the changes. And as I said, I'm not here to change who you are, but please listen to those words. It's not changing who you are, but changing behaviors is always relevant.
Absolutely. I think it's sort of like shedding light on the person's situation and background. And it's really good. I used to give them homework. I was a taskmaster. I thought, well, you're not just going to get a reading or a session. I want to see improvement, even if you don't want to. Here's a list of things to do. Come back in a month or whatever once you've done that, and let's look at it again. I found that the hardest thing, because so many people, and I hope you'll agree, they kind of want a magic wand, and whatever modality you're offering or modalities, they think, okay, it's like you're going to tap them on the shoulder or on the head, and all of a sudden they're cured or all their problems are gone away.
So yes, I do actually find that. But the flip side of that, just as you were about to say that, I'm like, oh, I'm not even sure if I've really paid attention to this. As practitioners or experts in any field, sometimes we forget that people don't know what people don't know. So if you do something like hypnosis, like a card reading, whatever the case may be, and you give people these wonderful tips, but you don't tell them, i.e. coaching, how to implement them in their life, you're actually not doing your job. So giving homework is a brilliant thing to do. I always give homework, like literally at the end of every session. Okay, so your homework is, repeat after me, because if you don't teach them how to implement these tools that you've given them, then you're not actually helping them, because the average person is like, okay, so I've done what I was supposed to do. I went to the session, and now I'm going to go do the next thing I need to do. And it's not my fault that nothing happened, because I went to the session. So if you don't get the homework, you're not doing your job. So
absolutely. I agree 1,000%. And many times too, I would give them a CD or a tape of some kind, a tape. What century am I in? In any case, some kind of recording, and to listen to of affirming stuff. And
Mm,
sometimes they would do it, and sometimes they weren't. The idea for me, anyway, from my end, was to condition people a certain way out, hopefully, out of certain self-esteem issues, etc. But more importantly, to say, I used to give them a lot of affirmations, and New Thought metaphysics, which I was into as well, is very affirming, if you'll pardon the pun, and you're sort of affirming to yourself. As a matter of fact, I have here, I just happen to have my soul oracle cards, and each one of them has a life affirming affirmation on it. And in the end, when I switched from tarot to oracle cards, I think you can see those, I'd get them to pick one and we would do it together. It's kind of like not a new age prayer, but a new thought prayer
I
based
love
on,
that.
yeah. So, it was very therapeutic. And also at the same time, they're combining, unbeknownst to them, meditation slash hypnosis, hopefully with a breathing process, getting themselves into altered state, and then reading this over and over or saying it to themselves over and over. And that really I found to be the only way to present some kind of life altering situation. Otherwise, they're merely repeating patterns.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. And it's the idea when you work with a client is always to
Yes.
educate them on whatever tool it is, educate them on their own life. And as an educator, I'm a teacher, and I teach people actually hypnosis and intuitive abilities and things like that. And if you are just teaching people how to memorize you, you're not really teaching people. So there's learning and there's memorization, and they are very different things.
Absolutely. Briefly, I want to touch on what your services are, what you can help people with. I like to think of people as helping themselves through you. Like, obviously, you present tools, and it's really for them to help themselves, really
Mhm.
to grow. I think it was Carl Jung who said, "We don't solve our problems, we outgrow them." And I really love that. It doesn't
Oh,
mean,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So what, as far as not necessarily modalities, but what sort of programs or things do you offer folks?
Well, I offer, as I mentioned, I do teach. Teach three different courses, and the courses that I teach are clinical therapy. I also teach one called Foundations in Flow, and that's for the person that their life is okay, maybe even good, but they're like, I'm not reaching everything that I want to. I'm not sure what's next. So that is for that person. And then the third one is Dating 101. Now, whether you are single or in a relationship, Dating 101 is still very relevant. It's a short course and it's done in group. And the point of that one is to help you remember how to be in a relationship. So, whether you're single and wanting to get into one, or whether you're in one and you want to remember why you're there and enjoy that relationship, then that Dating 101 is good for you. I do take clients one on one as well for sessions. And as I mentioned, my favorite thing to work in is relationship, whether that's the parent child dynamic, romantic relationship, career, but it's relationships. We have a few fundamentals in our life that we need to take care of. We need to eat, we need to sleep, we need to move our bodies. But if we do all of that and don't have good relationships, we don't have a good life.
Absolutely, I agree 1,000%. We have to maintain a balance or achieve a balance if we don't have a balance. In my case, I word it as mind, body, spirit, but really, it's all the same. It's a working on the mind, working on the body, working on the spirit, and they're all intertwined. But that's a whole other show, really.
Yes.
How can people reach you?
I like to keep it as simple as possible. JulieTurner.ca. if you go to julieturner.ca, you can email me, you can carrier pigeon, you can Facebook, you can do whatever you need to do. You can book straight through there. So it's julieturner.ca is the easiest way to go.
Excellent. I did suggest, I don't know if we were on the phone, we contacted each other yesterday, and I was thinking, let's pick a card for each other. I have my deck of tarot, and I think you have yours. I think you told me you brought yours with you.
I have my tarot and I have my guidance.
So let's do this. If you can, something brief, and I'll do the same for you.
Okay. I feel like I love this particular tarot deck, but I'm getting the message that you need a card from the other deck. You need a guidance card. That's what I'm getting.
Okay.
So just for you out there that are listening or watching, that is one of the most important things about what I do, at least the way that I see it, is to listen. There's always messaging. And if you don't listen to your own inner wisdom, your own inner voice, you're doing yourself a disservice and your clients. So my inner wisdom says that Dr. Michael needs a card from my Wisdom of the Hidden Realms deck. So what does Dr. Michael need to know?
I love this too, because we approach it. I say we because I have a feeling you do as well, on a number of levels. It's not just the physical and the shuffling, but it's also tuning in on a number of different levels as well.
Sometimes a card will jump out.
Yes.
And sometimes I hear shuffle 3 times, or I just hear the number 3, or I hear 12 and it's the 12th card. Like it's different messaging each time. It's not, I don't always do the same thing because I listen.
Yes.
And you need to listen more. So you received the card. It's called the Dream Walker. And it is a number 8. And I do love numerology as well. And I just simply asked, what does Dr. Michael need to know? And this card to me, it's almost like the baseball movie, if you build it, they will come. This is a card about abundance and about success. And I'm feeling like there's a dream, there's something out there, and dream is almost too powerful a word for this. It's like there's something out there that you want to build, and it might even be this current platform. And this card is saying that if you move forward with that intent, with I'm building my dream here, I'm building what I want, people will come. People will listen, people will come. Like I see you standing there and I see you're smiling and people are gathering around you smiling because you've put something forward that they can appreciate and they can.
Excellent. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. I'm going to briefly approach. Now, this is, I think you can see, this is a deck from 15th century Milan, and they have the original artwork, which is huge, in museums in Montreal, Milan, and New York. So it's all authentic. There's a couple they couldn't get the originals of, so they redid them, and you could tell they're a little bit brighter. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a variation of an overhand shuffle. That's the magician in me talking. Overhand shuffle. And see, look at this. Did you see that? How it just popped out? Oh, brother. So I think we can catch that. If it was another deck of cards, we'd say it was the Jack of Diamonds. In this case, it's a page of coins. Coins has to do with money, with wealth. And as a page, there's a bit of a hierarchy. There's page knight, queen, king, and the page is just sort of starting out. They're adventurous, they jump on their horse and they move forward. in the direction of finances. So for you, as I would relate it to you as well, I'd say it's just the tip of the iceberg. It really, really is, as far as finances, adventures involving money, that sort of thing. I really believe you've never really had to worry. That's not a main concern of yours, is finances. We all live and we need a roof over our head and all that sort of thing. But I think you'll agree, when you worry too much about something, you usually bring it to you. So with you in particular, because I do know you a little bit, I'm reading a bit of what I know into you, but I'm also generalizing. And I have to say, you're on the right path, you're on the right track. Whatever new adventure financially, whatever new venture financially that you've started, continue. It's the right path. If you haven't yet, I do feel 2 months. I was going to say 3 months, but 2 months, even next month. We're in January. When people watch this, it'll be in the month of January, but they might see this in a year. So I'm going to say January, February of this year, whatever comes to your attention, grab it, as far as finances or a venture. And I know, because you're a teacher, but you're also a student, you'll embrace the learning. You'll love the whole process of learning that this venture has to offer you, and you won't be sorry for it. Uh, in this case, there's no warning. There's no, oh, don't do it, avoid it, all that sort of thing. I really have to say, for yourself, embrace it and enjoy the learning that comes with any new financial venture that comes your way in the next month or two.
Yay. That sounds wonderful. Sounds like we're both on a good track.
Absolutely. And once again, as we wrap up, I want to thank you so much, Julie. You add so much to the show with your various modalities and your energy. And I don't have to implore people out there, but I would encourage folks out there, if they have anything they'd like to discuss with you, any issues, anything, even just for a chat, to go on your website. Again, what is the address, the URL?
It's julieturner.ca, and I would love to hear from everyone.
Excellent. I know that's true. I know that you're just brimming full of information and knowledge and tools as well. I'm very excited and thankful to know you, Julie.
Thank you so very much for your time today, Dr. Michael. It's always a pleasure.
It is. Thank you again, Julie. And that was Julie Turner. I want to thank all of you again out there for joining us this day for Magical People. We'll see you all really soon.